hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoy the content, and leave a comment down below letting me know what you think of the overall build and how the truck does towing the camper. Now with that part out of the way, let's get to the real part of this video, and that is, how does the truck do? Overall, the truck has done amazingly well. It exceeds 90% of my expectations with how I wanted the truck to do. I have more power than I even know what to do with. As far as towing goes, yes, I'm in a tow tune. Currently I'm running Windrunner Performance Engineering's tow file. He did modify it for me, and actually it's a reduced power version of his normal tow tune. I had concerns about temps and keeping them in check with the load that I'm carrying behind me. It's roughly 13,000 pounds, so it's a pretty heavy fifth wheel all in all. And like I said, I have more than enough power on tap to take care of what I need, plenty of passing power. So in that aspect, I am incredibly happy with how the truck is performing, passing slower traffic anyway, or tractor trailers has not been a problem. As far as braking goes for the truck, it slows this load down just fine. Again, the Windrunner Performance tune kicks that transmission assistant. Those of you guys that don't know, the transmission helps slow this down when you're in tow haul. So as far as that goes, it has been tremendously helpful. I've run certain tunes or certain files that were too aggressive with it. It came on too quick. It was hard to get out of that mode. But with this, it's not over the top. If I just brake a little bit, it doesn't kick in, but when I need to brake, it kicks in. And it's also easy to get back out of it when I need to. It's not like I gotta rev the RPMs up real high or anything. So again, I want to give a huge shout out to Windrunner Performance Engineering for just phenomenal tuning and great customer service. I do in the future plan on trying to do a review on his normal tow file, along with Innovative Diesel's tow tune that I have from them. Many of you already know that I use them for my race tunes, and I've been incredibly happy with them and the quality of tune that they put out. As for brakes, I am running power stop brakes and rotors the whole way around, and just Ford calipers, nothing crazy. And again, for 04, they were smaller brakes than what came on the later years, so do bear that in mind. An 05, 06, 07 should actually brake even better than this truck does. As far as how the drive is, it's pretty flat. There's not a whole lot of hills. There's a couple here and there, nothing crazy. Fairly low elevation. I think the most I got up to is maybe like 500 feet. So very low elevation in the scheme of things. Now let's start talking some important numbers here. And I have my Torque Pro going along with my GPS in the background. So currently I have the Torque Pro up. Transmission temperature, I have seen a max of 178 and a low of 160 since I turned it on. So obviously, as the truck warms up. Currently I'm sitting at 163. Now as far as oil and coolant temperatures, I'm running about a 20-degree delta going 70 miles an hour with 13,000 pounds hooked up. So oil cooler health, I'd say, is pretty darn good considering it's only 5 degrees above what they say unloaded at 65. So again, very happy there. As far as actual numbers, coolant is running 221 and my engine oil temp is running 242. In a little bit, we're going to touch on as far as coolant and oil temps go, and something that we're going to work on improving in the near future. Now for exhaust gas temperatures, guys, what we've been seeing is anywhere from about 900 degrees to 1200 degrees, depending on where I'm at throttle-wise, if I'm climbing a hill or not. And typically, the only time I see 1200 is if I have my cruise control on and I start to hit a significant hill of any kind, and the truck will kind of get under the turbo. It won't be making enough boost. As soon as I get in the throttle a little more, my exhaust temps come right back down, typically lower than they were prior. Moving on, so the next thing we'll talk about is the suspension of the truck and how it's set up, and what I set my airbags at prior to hooking up to the camper and towing. So the front has a rough country 2.5-inch leveling kit. This is an 04 truck, Brownstown ride right airbags. Love them. If I could go back and do it all over, I would just get the airbags and be done. For anybody out there towing with the leaf springs, especially if you have not at least replaced your leaf springs with factory ones, the front leaf springs, your front suspension as a whole, I guess, really makes a huge difference on towing, and I don't think a lot of people consider that all that much when they're getting set up to tow. The front suspension plays just as much of a role as far as keeping the ride quality up and as far as control. So by making sure your front suspension is good and firm, and at least making sure you don't have major components that are failing, it will help with your overall ride quality while towing. Now in the rear, we have the airbag set to 35 PSI, gives the back of the truck a little bit of a rake, but it's not too firm, but it's firm enough that it really tames the camper as far as going over some bumps. Now, yeah, sure, there's some big bumps that there isn't anything you can really do about. They're going to kind of make things rock around a little bit, but typically at 35 I found is kind of my favorite spot at the moment as far as towing this camper. Again, it's 13,000 pounds. As far as airbags, I have tried 20, 30, and 40 PSI as well. That is in each bag. And again, 35 just seems to be, for this load, what the truck likes the most as far as balancing everything out. So if you have them, you'll have to play with them a little bit depending on your camper weight. I have friends that tow heavier that you use less pressure. I have friends that tow lighter that use more. So it just kind of depends, I think, on bumper pull or fifth wheel and how heavy and how much that pin weight you have. Now for fuel mileage, and this one kind of hurts, guys, I'm getting between 8.5 and 9 miles per gallon. This tank, I think this tank's going a little bit better, but moral of the story is towing this much weight, you're not going to get good gas mileage. I wish I had a bigger fuel tank, but they're kind of expensive. Maybe at some point in the future we'll add that in. But now, YouTube, that's how the truck performs so far. Let's talk about some things that either went wrong or that I want to improve. First thing, there was only one thing that actually went wrong, and that is I did blow an intercooler boot. I technically blew two, but I didn't notice the second one till after we were down there. So right off the turbo with the cheap intercooler piping, those clamps are garbage. If you have them, get rid of them. Get nice ones. Go to Ford, get them. Go to a truck stop and purchase them. I know there's... What's that?
We did blow another one?
Yeah, I fixed them.
You didn't tell me that.
Well, I didn't realize it until after we were at camp for several days. Lesson number 186, guys. When something goes wrong, minimize it to the family. It keeps them happy and less anxious about the entire trip. The following lesson after that is, if you did not tell them that there was another mishap, do not reveal it on video to them. Terrible time. So I did blow the intercooler boot off the turbo, and what I did is I always keep spare clamps with me. I had my Ford ones from that pipe. I just hopped out of the truck, took the cheap clamp off, and I put the Ford one on, cranked it down nice and tight with my Milwaukee. What I did find out later is that on the cold side of the intercooler, I did blow the other intercooler boot a little bit, not completely, but the clamp was starting to come off. So I think what saved me as far as the lower pipe on the cold side was the fact that the base to your air intake is right there, not allowing it to go all the way out. I did check it at about 100 miles into the trip. It was still doing fine. And again, like another 140 miles down the road from that. So I think I have that one good enough for now. However, I am planning on ditching the cheap pipe altogether and getting a nicer piece. Not because I think the pipe itself is bad, but I just kind of want to put a quality product on there. And I'll definitely get high-end clamps and boots to go with it. I did replace my hot side pipe, because I was worried about having another issue with that blowing off, and that was something that's kind of a pain in the butt, and it's real hot, so it's hard to get to while you're side of the road. So what I did is, many of you have already seen my MBRP hot side intercooler pipe video. I put that on. Great quality piece, really enjoying that. Looks great under the hood, and it's performing even better. Now, I did tell you we would come back to my oil and coolant temps, and what I want to talk about with that is, one, I'm not so upset about the difference in temperature. 20 degrees, towing 13,000 pounds at 70 miles an hour. That's actually pretty good when you figure to test your oil cooler's health, you need to be less than 15 degrees unloaded at 65. So I'm going a little bit faster, and I'm more than doubling the weight of my truck. So pretty happy with that part. What I'm not happy about is the way this Mishimoto radiator is performing. I can say this, as far as while towing, it performs significantly worse than the original stock radiator that I had in the truck in the first place. That I replaced, that wasn't broken, mind you. I hate when that happens. I replace a part, it's not broken. I'm supposed to put a better part in, not a better part. It's very upsetting. Very unmoved by this. So after I towed down to South Carolina, I called up Mishimoto. I'd actually called them the week prior to leaving to initiate a claim as far as the product not working as said, and they did say that they have received a few complaints about the radiator I have and it not cooling for a handful of people. Now, I did look this up, and it seems a little more widespread than they give it credit for when you talk to them. But the most important thing is they're making it right. And since it's advertised as being able to cool at least as well as factory, which I would be fine with if it did, they said that for the handful of people that have my radiator that it's not working, that they upgrade for free to the performance radiator they offer. That is an upgrade. So when I take that out, we'll be taking some measurements of it. The current one and the new one that's going to go in the truck, once that comes in, that should be here this coming week. Probably about by the time you guys see this, maybe a day or so later, I should have that. And you guys, if you don't follow me on Instagram, check it out. I will probably be posting pictures of it there once it comes. Well, YouTube, that is all I have to say about the truck and how it towed. I'll put a build list down in the description below for anybody that's curious, that hasn't been following the channel, or that may have forgot one of the modifications that's been done to the truck. If you haven't already, please give this video a big thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Drop a comment down below with any questions you guys have, and I'll see you in the next upload.